Bitte Naraki unmute.
Om Namo Narayanaya. We will begin our today's discussion with the prayer. Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine avatara varisthaya Ramakrishnaya te namaha. Namaskar to all of you. Welcome to the study of the lives of household devotees of Sri Ramakrishna. Doubt is truly painful. The opposite of doubt is faith. Samshaya is doubt and Shraddha is faith. Doubt is very, very painful. You think that you get a lot of joy in doubting and finding faults in others, but it is very painful. Doubt, samshaya, disturbs one's mental peace and it upsets one's nervous system. It's surprising, isn't it? It can disturb our mental peace even. Not only it disturbs our mental peace, it upsets our nervous system. So, but we are bent upon continuing this habit of doubting. Samshaya. Should always remember Lord Krishna telling, Samshayatma vinashyati. And the opposite of samshaya is Shraddha. So Lord Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, Shraddhavan labhate gnanam. The person who has faith, that is the opposite of doubt, will get knowledge of God. That is, your inner divinity will manifest if you have Shraddha. So we know how harmful is this character called doubting. In English, there is a usage, doubting Thomas. So this doubt is very painful. It disturbs our mental peace, our mental poise, upsets one's nervous system, and ruins one's physical health. So this quality of doubt, it also ruins our physical health too. I've seen in Bangalore one person, even now he's coming, and we are seeing him for many years, maybe 35 years. Gradually that character of doubting developed into a mental disease, a psychological disorder. What is that? His doubt is, will be always doubting, all people are talking about me. Somebody laughs there of themselves for their own purpose. He thinks that they are laughing at me. If somebody are talking together in a group, you think they are criticizing me, they are telling something about me. So it's doubt. This doubting nature, yes, it is the nature of the mind, samshaya vikamanas. Yes, everybody will have it. It is a protective mechanism. But when uncontrolled, when you do not control it, it will cause all this problem. So now it has become too deep and it has gone to the extreme. That person has lost balance. He was taken to the psychiatrist. Now it has become worsened. He is becoming violent. He goes and quarrels with everybody for no reason because he starts doubting that they're all talking something about him. So everything, when under check and control, everything is good. But when we let it loose, when we make it a habit, then see what happens. It disturbs our mental poise and peace, upsets our nervous system, it ruins one's physical health. Doubt is a formidable enemy in spiritual life. As a caged bird remains idle in the cage and leads a bound, miserable life, so also a doubting soul. So he cannot come out of the rut, he will be just like in a cage. So that this doubting nature creates a cage or a jail around him. It will be just like a solitary confinement. Though you are not put into the jail or the solitary confinement, your doubting nature will put you into that. So a doubting soul, a doubting personality is confined to his own confusion and he lives without peace and happiness in the world. So, what happens in the spiritual life? Doubt, samshaya, contracts the heart. You know the great saying of Swami Vivekananda, expansion is life and contraction is death. What does this doubt do to us? This doubt contracts the heart. That means it will lead us towards death and creates commotion. It causes stagnation in one's life. So the opposite of that is faith. So Shraddhavan labate gnanam. Krishna tells that a person with faith, he gets knowledge of Atman or knowledge of God. So if you have faith, you will have a healthy body, healthy mind, healthy nervous system. So this faith, Shraddha, expands the heart. So expansion is life. So with Shraddha, your heart expands emotionally and you can be healthy and you will have a very good progress in spiritual life. So Shraddha, faith expands the heart and it creates motion of your spiritual life. There will be expansion. Whereas doubt creates commotion, faith creates motion of our heart, of our life. Faith brings joy, without which it is hard to live in this world. Suppose the child doesn't have faith in the mother. Can the child survive? If the mother doesn't have faith in her own children, can she survive? If the husband doesn't have faith in the wife or vice versa, you can know what happens. So this faith, this quality called faith, Shraddha, I've taken up in the Vivek Chudamani, that particular term, Shraddha. Our great Acharya, Shankara Acharya, he explains about that. Guruvakyasya, Shastravakyasya, Satyabuddhyavadaranam. So that is Sa Shraddha Katita. So that is called as faith, belief, and putting that into action. The words of the Guru, the words of the elders, the words of the scriptures. That is Shraddha. And that is used not for the worldly reason, when it is used for realizing God, realizing the Atman, the Parabrahman, then that is true Shraddha. When our goal is towards Atma Jnana, realization of God, then this belief, this faith turns itself into action to get or to know or to realize our true nature. So that faith is so healthy. So this faith brings joy, existence, faith in the existence of God, faith in the belief that God will always protect you, is always with you, is always guarding you. Then no amount of samshya or doubt can disturb you. So faith in God, faith in Guru, faith in yourself, that is the answer, that is the path to success, tells Swami Vivekananda. Faith brings joy, without which it is hard to live in this world. In your family or wherever, there may be people who are protecting you, guarding you. There may be people who are very well disposed to you, always thinking of your welfare. But if you don't have faith, if you are always doubting, how can you live in this world? So, without this faith, it is hard to live in this world. And what does that faith do? Faith or Shraddha lights the path for a soul. It allows the soul, the Atman, to manifest itself in our life. As Swami Vivekananda tells, religion is the manifestation of divinity which is already within. So for this manifestation of perfection, or even education is called as manifestation of perfection which is already within man. Religion is manifestation of divinity within man. So if this Atman, this divinity, God has to manifest, which is already there in us, we are of that Swarupa, of that nature, then what is the path? Faith. Faith helps us. So it's the faith lights the path for a soul, guiding it to its destination. So faith guides us to our destination. What is our goal, highest goal? Atma Sakshatkar, Bhagavad Sakshatkar, realization of God. Like many other people, there was one great householder devotee, Ramakrishna. His name was Devendranatha Majumdar. He, in the beginning of his life, maybe because of the modern day Macaulay's education, Western culture, he started doubting everything. The worst was he started doubting the existence of God itself. He once described to someone, because he was undergoing this pain of doubting the existence of God itself. So Devendranath Majumdar, he once described to someone the joy he felt when his doubt was finally transformed into faith. So reverse it. When your doubt transforms into faith, and how eventually that transformation took him to Sri Ramakrishna. So how can we transform our life from this painful, miserable, troublesome life? Transform your doubting nature into the nature of faith. Just like child, Believe your parents, believe your people around you, believe your guru, have faith in your guru, have faith in the existence of God. Then you'll change, you can transform this painful, miserable life and world into the life of faith. And this transformation took, or the transformation itself took place due to the contact with Sri Ramakrishna. And his life was saved. The life became a wonderful life. One day, Devendranath Majumdar went to his uncle's house in Maniktala, Calcutta. Since the uncle was not there at that time in the house, Devendra Nath Majumdar waited in his living room. So while he was waiting there in the living room, he found a copy of a Bengali book. So what was the book? The Life of Sadhu Aghorenath. Aghorenath was a follower of Keshav Chandra Sen, who was then the leader of Brahma Samaj. And Aghorenath was also a preacher in the Brahma Samaj, specializing in lectures on Buddhism. Devendranath Majumdar opened that book at random, the life of Sadhu Aghorenath. Then randomly opened that book and read the following story. What was the story? Aghorenath had once gone to preach in the northwestern part of India. On his way through Bihar, about 9 miles from the town of Chapra. Chapra is the birthplace of our direct disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, that is Latu Maharaj. Adbhutananda's birthplace is Chapra. Now we have a beautiful big ashram exactly on the birthplace of Adbhutanandaji, Latu Maharaj. So about 9 miles from the town of Chapra in Bihar, Aghorenath took shelter for the night in an empty inn. At midnight, a band of robbers entered the building to assault him. When the robber chieftain, he gave the order to rob and kill Aghorenath. Now, anybody, when they come to know that they are going to die, the two in such a bad way, being killed, murdered by the robbers, Aghorenath was frightened. He pleaded. He told the robbers, "Look," he said, "I am not a rich man. I don't earn money. I travel and preach the name of God. Please take everything, whatever I have, but don't kill me." Saying this, Aghorenath burst into tears and asked for a little time to pray to God. After that, he sang 2 Hindi devotional songs. The first song began like this: "O Lord, you are kind, but I am wretched. You are the giver, and I am a beggar." And the second Hindi divine song or the devotional song was: "Blessed is your name, O Lord." So after singing Aghorenath, after singing these 2 songs to God as a prayer, he lost consciousness. Just as he regained consciousness, he heard one of the robbers say to another, "This man is a devotee of God. Don't kill him." Without robbing him, the robbers left. They didn't harm him at all. After reading this story, Devendranath Majumdar shouted in great excitement. And what was his shout? Who says that God does not exist? Here is a proof, a live proof that God exists. Who else could have saved Aghorenath's life? Devendranath Majumdar, after reading this book, returned home, went to his room, and closed the door. Bumping his head against the wall, he wept, praying to God for his vision. He developed that faith in God. Until now, he had lost faith in God, faith in himself. So he was suffering. It was a very frightful and painful life. Now that reading this book and that life incidents of Aghorenath, he developed faith in God. And now he went back to his room and cried for God. Bumping his head against the wall, he wept, praying to God for his vision. 3 days and 3 nights he spent in his closed room without food or sleep. Early in the morning of the fourth day, he came out of his room and paced back and forth on the roof of the house. As he watched the sunrise, he cried out, "Who says that God does not exist? Who says that God does not exist?" That is the sign of God. The sunrise, as he watched the sunrise, he is telling, that is the sign of God. Then he thought to himself, it is true that God is everywhere, but who will help me realize God? I need a guru. So he went in search of a guru. He knows that God is everywhere, within and without, but who will guide me? It is true, God is everywhere, but who will help me realize God? Guru only can do that. So he wanted a guru. Devendranath Majumdar wanted a guru. He went in search of that guru. Devendranath Majumdar was born in a village of Jagannathapura in Jassore district of East Bengal. Now, presently, it is Bangladesh. He was born on January 7th, 1844. His father, Prasannanath, died 2 months before Devendranath was born. But his mother lived a long life. Well to do at one time, the family had a Krishna temple adjacent to their house. Devendranath had a sister and a brother named Surendranath Majumdar, who was 5 years older than he. Now, after the death of the father, an uncle was their guardian. Like most village boys, Devendranath Majumdar was very lively. His rowdiness once resulted in a broken left hand, which, not having been properly set, remained slightly bent the rest of his life. Devendranath Majumdar attended school but could not keep his mind on his studies. So, even though he couldn't concentrate on the studies, even then his nature was poetic and his handwriting was both beautiful and rapid. Playing with the cowherd boys in the meadows was his favorite pastime. Once a boy asked him if he could catch space, akasha, space, empty space, or akasha, ether. So when that boy asked him whether he could catch space, guileless as he was, Devendranath Majumdar really believed that he could. But no matter how much he ran, he could not catch it. Some of these childhood memories he later narrated in his songs. From boyhood, Devendranath Majumdar told truth. He would always stick on to truth. Once a relative complained about his naughtiness to his elder brother Surendra. Surendra replied, Devendranath's nickname was Devi. So in the house, they used to call him Devi, the nickname. So the elder brother replied, Devi may be naughty, but one day he will become great because he never tells a lie, he never utters a lie. So that was the faith of his brother because he was so truthful always. Knowing Devendranath's trustworthiness, a neighbor once asked him to watch his grocery shop while he went on errand. The neighbor was late in returning, and Devendra Nath Majumdar, the young boy, had to wait there for a long time. Having grown hungry, no food, he ate a handful of puffed rice, mudi, puffed rice. A handful that too, because he was very hungry. Because the neighbor told that he will be coming quickly, but he delayed a lot. So he just had ate a handful of puffed rice from the shop to quench his hunger. Immediately, Devendranath was overwhelmed by fear and guilt because he was so truthful, a man of integrity. As soon as the grocer came back, Devendranath confessed to him that he ate a handful of puffed rice. But the man merely laughed and told him it was all right, nothing to worry, it was just a handful of puffed rice. But the painful memory of this incident convinced Devendranath that the path of untruth causes much suffering. So now you can see what was his integrity, how truthful he was. Now, can you imagine the extent of truthfulness? We think that telling truthful words or narrating whatever has happened as it is considered to be truthful, or whatever we think that it is truth at the level of the word. But as I have many times explained that truthfulness has many different spheres, angles, at the level of thought, at the level of deed, at the level of speech. But most of us think it is truthfulness at the level of speech, that's all. But keeping up time, if we give our word, we have to keep up our words. Whatever we have promised somebody, we have told somebody we will do that, we have to keep up that word. So that is truthfulness at the level of action, at the level of deed. Kaya, Kaya, Vacha, Manasa. Now, timings. So, keeping up the word, we have told we will do something, we will give you the work, or we will complete the work in such a time, we will do this to you. So, these are keeping up the given word to somebody. Then you have to maintain the time, being punctual. So that is also very important aspect of truthfulness, which Ramakrishna showed it in his life. Then now you can see here another aspect of truthfulness at the level of work or deed. Yeah. What is that? Being very truthful is he would not even take anything of that person without his permission. So that is also truthfulness at different level. So the neighbor was late in returning, and Devendra, having grown hungry, ate a handful of puffed rice from the shop without the permission of the owner. Immediately he was overwhelmed with fear and guilt. And as soon as the grocer, the owner of the shop, grocery shop, came back, Devendra confessed. But that man did not take it much seriously. The man merely laughed and told him it was all right. So it caused him so much of pain, the painful memory of this incident convinced Devendranath that the path of untruth causes much suffering. But to the people who are not bothered about it, who will be always sloggy, lazy, and who are not subtle into the level of the subtle behavior, who are very rough, thick skinned, just like there are some animals like elephant, hippopotamus, rhinoceros, pigs, buffaloes, they are called thick skinned animals. The technical term is pachyderm. So their skin is too thick. They do not understand the subtle things of the external nature. So if we become like the thick skinned animals, then we don't feel all this pain. We will be breaking our words. We will not keep up the time. We will be leading a very peculiar type of life without caring for anybody else. We go on cheating or doing wrong things, troubling others. So all this happen when we are not aware of these things. So that is called thick-skinned nature. One of our senior Swamiji used to tell this story. There were two buffaloes, buffaloes are very thick-skinned. There was beautiful grass, good grass, sweet grass, and many other things, eatables given there. Both of them were eating it very happily in their shed. And one of the buffaloes suddenly told the other buffalo, "My dear brother, I hear some sound. Somewhere very far off, maybe some 5 kilometers away, I can hear some sound." Then the other buffalo told him, "My dear brother, why are you bothered about that sound? Why can't you focus on eating such good grass, such good things, eatables have been given by our owner? Instead of eating that, you are just distracting yourself to hear some sound far off, somewhere, some kilometers away." Okay, I will concentrate on eating. Both started eating again. And suddenly again the same buffalo told, "I hear some sound little nearby." Again the other buffalo warned him, "My dear brother, don't be too distractive. Why do you think of the sound somewhere outside? Just concentrate on eating. Focus." Such wonderful things. Okay. Again they went on eating. Finally again the same buffalo told, "I can hear somewhere the sound in our shed itself behind, I can hear." Again this buffalo, the friend buffalo told, "Don't bother me, I want to eat. Concentrate on eating, enjoy eating." Okay. Again they went on eating. After some time again the same buffalo told, "I hear some sound just behind me. Is it? Watch, turn your back and see." With great difficulty, they are very lazy. So the buffalo, with great difficulty, turned its head back and saw the owner of the buffaloes or the house is taking a big stick and hitting the back of this buffalo very rudely. He's thrashing. Then suddenly both the buffaloes looked back, laughed, and they started telling, "Oh, our owner, our master is hitting us. The sound is coming on my back. He's hitting us. It is not somewhere 5 kilometers away. Here." They started laughing. "It's hitting us on the back." So you'll be getting pain, and you should know the seniors, your father and mother or your guru is telling you, when they are scolding you, when they are telling you something, words of good advice to you, you think it is happening to somebody else somewhere, just like this packet of. So it is us. For me only that teaching was given, that particular word was given. We think it's somebody else, not to me. Just like that pachyderms, thick-skinned animals. So when we are subtle, when our nerves and our mind has become a little subtle, we can be aware of all these things. So let us not become like that pachyderms. So now, Devendranath Majumdar, he confessed, even eating just a fistful of puffed rice, he thought it was not right. So he became very upset. He was overwhelmed with fear and guilt. As soon as the grocer came back, Devendranath confessed it. But the man merely laughed and told him it was all right. But that painful memory of this incident convinced Devendranath Majumdar that the path of untruth causes much suffering. So this is enough. Even small incidences are enough for them to learn. So from that day on, he decided I will never tell a lie. So it's very painful. I don't want that pain. See, many people, they go on telling lies, countering another lie for that, preparing another lie for this. So now, when you are in a position to be caught hold of by the other person because you have told a lie, you have to concoct another lie. So you have to remember all the lies you have told. Then you may forget next time, you may forget what lie you have told. So you will be caught again. Then you have to concoct another thing. When you are caught again, you have to create a chain of lies, and it will be so painful, and you will have to waste so much of energy in remembering all those lies. And lies full, our life will become full of lies. But if you are truthful, no need of remembering anything because you are truthful. I told the truth. There ends the matter. No waste of energy, no pain, no fear of being caught, no guilt. So you are safe and sound and you'll be always joyful. No wastage of energy. But if you are lying, always you have to be on the guard, remembering all the lies. It will be so subtle. I have seen so many people, very close people I have seen. They will tell the lies. They will tell something, and they have to hide that, and they will tell another lie. But they are not aware of it at all. If we tell them, they will be hurt. They will get hurt. So now, telling truthful things, telling truth is so joyful. You need not remember anything. You need not concoct. You can be free. You can give lot of your mind to higher things. So being truthful is very, very helpful, very, very joyful. So Devendra, that painful memory of that incident, coincidence convinced Devendra that the path of untruth causes much suffering. Many years later, he recounted this story to his followers. Now, this Devendranath Majumdar, when he was 15 years old, his uncle died. And his brother Surendra became his guardian. Moving to Calcutta, where his brother lived, Devendra continued his studies for another 5 years. During this period, Surendra he won fame as a renowned poet. Two of his many books of verse were Mahila and Savita Sudarshana. So that compositions, compilation of so many poems, so that were put into two books. So two of his many books of the verse were Mahila and Savita Sudarshana. Over and above that too, he had written so many other poetries. His literary work brought him in touch with many other great writers, and he became a close friend of Girish Chandra Ghosh. Now, now he's come in contact with Girish Chandra Ghosh. Now you can understand what happens in future. Surendra was also a tutor to Adarlal Sen. So his brother Surendra was also tutor to Adarlal Sen, another devotee of Sri Ramakrishna. Both Girish Chandra Ghosh and Adarlal Sen, they became disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. Devendranath Majumdar used to listen to Surendra, that is his brother, and Girish Chandra Ghosh discussing literature, history, and philosophy, which strengthened his imagination and increased his knowledge. About this time, Surendra taught Devendranath Majumdar, his brother, 64 postures of Hatha Yoga. So he learned all the postures, 64 postures of Hatha Yoga, the asanas which we do, yoga asanas. It's called Hatha Yoga. So Devendra learned 64 postures of Hatha Yoga. Now Devendranath Majumdar also began sitar lessons. It's a type of veena, lute, stringed instrument, sitar. So Devendra also began sitar lessons with a teacher, and in time he became an expert player. So these were all the good hobby and specialities he had. Although Devendranath Majumdar had no desire to get involved in family life, in 1870 his mother forced him to marry Meghambari, the 9-year-old daughter of Harishchandra Chatterjee. This young wife was very pure, simple, and devoted to her husband. Since Surendra was supporting the whole family, because all the responsibility was on the shoulders of his brother Surendra, naturally, Devendra had a carefree life, no responsibility. He could concentrate on learning sitar, playing sitar, writing poetry, discussing literature. In 1878, however, his elder brother Surendra died from cholera at the age of 41. Now, the entire responsibility of the family fell on Devendra suddenly. Now, 34, he was 34 years old. Devendra did not have a job. The family suffered terribly from poverty. Indeed, Devendranath Majumdar's mother's wife and sister-in-law were often close to starvation during this period. Devendranath Majumdar moved to an inexpensive apartment on Nimu Goswami Lane in the western part of Calcutta. And he finally, after searching a lot, he got a clerical job in the Thakur's family. So in English they call Tagore, but it is Thakur, Thakur's family.
Okay, thank you.
That Thakur's family estate in Jorasanko, Calcutta. Now, this job paid him very little, but it was easy to make extra money by cheating and exploiting the poor peasant. He could make money, but you know the truthfulness and integrity of Devendra. Devendranath Majumdar was upright, however, and would not accept an extra penny, even a single penny or a cent from anyone, even
Good
though
morning, honey.
in debt.
Can you? Yes, I wanted to lift back home, please. I've got my car for service. Mrs. Rajkumar. Douglas Day.
Om Namo Narayanaya, Mother Rajini Ma, your mic is on. Can you put off the mic, please? Thank you.
083 88 45
Om
191.
Rajini Ma, your mic is on. Please put off the mic. Okay, thank you, Mother. Devendranath Majumdar was upright, However, he would not accept an extra penny from anyone, even though he was living in debt. One day, Devendranath Majumdar mentioned this condition to his employer. He was so impressed with Devendranath's honesty that he cleared all his debts. After reading the story about Aghorenath, Devendranath began desperately to search for a guru. Neither Hatha Yoga, see, the yoga and pranayama and the Hatha Yoga which we do, it is a part of Raja Yoga to keep your body fit and healthy so that you can prepare your mind for spiritual higher growth. In itself, it can give you good health and little peace of mind, steady your mind, but it cannot give you spirituality. So now Devendranath needed spiritual development. He began desperately to search for a guru. So he knew all the 64 postures of Hatha Yoga and Pranayama and everything. He was expert in Hatha Yoga. So neither Hatha Yoga nor the sermons, the lecture he heard in the Brahma Samaj of Keshab Chandra Sen could give him peace of mind. Having heard about Bhagavan Das Babaji, a Vaishnava saint living in Kalna, you know that if you have read the life of Ramakrishna, Ramakrishna went to meet him. So we know all that incidents in the great master. So now he heard about this Bhagavan Das Babaji, a Vaishnava saint living in Kalna. He decided to go to him for initiation. One day, in the early part of 1884, he went to the Ahiritola dock to board a steamer for Kalna. But he missed it. He couldn't get that steamer. Returning home, he stopped at a friend's house and saw on his desk a book entitled Bhakti Chaitanya Chandrika. Bhakti Chaitanya Chandrika. The life and teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So recently when I went to Kamarpukur after finishing the Vijayadashami, for Navaratri I went to that place Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's birthplace Navadvip, and I visited all the places of interest connected with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So now he got this life and teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. On page 63 of this book, he came across Sri Ramakrishna's name. The author of this book mentioned that Paramahamsa Ramakrishna compared the Nitya, the Absolute, and the Leela, the manifestation of God, or God without form and God with form, to water and to ice. We all know that people who have read Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, we know this example, Ramakrishna, comparing God without form to water, which doesn't have form, and God with form, personal God, to the same God taking form as ice. The same water condenses where there is too much of cold, sub-zero temperature, like in the North Pole and South Pole, it is constantly there as ice. So Ramakrishna gives this example to explain about formless God, that is Nitya, and God with form, that is Leela. Devendranath, when he read about this teaching of Ramakrishna, knew that the word Paramahamsa was a title for a person who had attained God realization. You know the bird Hamsa. In English it is swan, S-W-A-N. So that bird swan or Hamsa, when you give water mixed with milk, it separates the milk portion, it throws away the water and takes in only the milk portion. Likewise, the Paramahamsa or a realized soul or the person who is going on the path of spiritual life, he will, with his power of discrimination, Viveka, we have to separate the good and the bad, the real and the unreal, the Atman from the Anatman, that which is God and that which is not God. So that separation, like the Hamsa Pakshi or Swan, is a spiritual aspirant. While going forward in spiritual life, he reaches the God realization, then he becomes perfect, realizing that God is the essence. Nothing else is true. Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya after realization. So then that person who has attained that goal of God realization is called Paramahamsa. The highest, the biggest, the best swan, Parama, highest was realized God. Now this term given to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa because he had attained highest God realization. Now, hearing this term Paramahamsa and also hearing about Sri Ramakrishna's example of the Nitya and the Leela, God with form and God without form, compared to the formless water and ice with form. Now, Devendranath thought to himself, would this Paramahamsa Ramakrishna be my guide, be my guru? Now, leaving his friend's house, Devendranath Majumdar met another friend on the street and asked him if he knew anything about Sri Ramakrishna. And that friend said to him, Sri Ramakrishna lives in the temple garden of Dakshineshwar, the temple built by Rani Rasmani. So, in the temple garden of Dakshineshwar. Now, hearing these words, Devendranath was so excited that he could not wait. You see, when you have faith in God, when you have faith, Shraddha, you cannot keep quiet. You will immediately jump into action. You'll start working to gain it. You will not be lazy, dilly-dallying, procrastinating. When you don't have faith, you procrastinate, you go on postponing it. When you have faith, you will not keep quiet. You quickly get into action and get whatever you want. So now Devendra, the moment he heard that Ramakrishna lives in Dakshineshwar, so he didn't waste even a single moment. He was excited that he could not wait to meet Sri Ramakrishna. No sooner did he arrive home than he left again, going by boat to Dakshineshwar. He was greatly agitated as the boat approached the temple garden. Devendranath saw a man with one arm in a sling standing in the garden. When the boat was anchored, Devendranath asked a man who was sitting on the bank of the river where this Paramahamsa Ramakrishna lived. That man pointed to Sri Ramakrishna's room. Devendranath went to the semicircular veranda on the western side of Sri Ramakrishna's room and looking inside, seeing no one inside the room, he waited on the porch. Soon, a plainly dressed man, again the same man with one arm in a sling, entered the room through another door. He was wearing slippers, and one part of his lower cloth was pulled up and thrown across his shoulder. Now Devendranath recognized him as the man he had seen from the boat. Then he concluded that he must be the Paramahamsa. Devendranath Majumdar bowed down to him, and the master told him to enter the room by the northern door. Noticing that Devendranath Majumdar left his shoes at a distance before entering the room, Sri Ramakrishna advised him to keep them on the veranda, for otherwise the slippers might be stolen. So even during those days, 175 years back, so slippers would be stolen. In the temple, it is very popular. The temples are very popular where your slippers, even in other places, but temple is very popular where your slippers can be stolen. So even during the period of Ramakrishna, that was there. So these incidents, you can be satisfied that if your slippers are stolen now here, oh, that was stolen even during Ramakrishna's period. So okay, it's good. So when we used to lose our slippers in the temple, our elders, our mothers in the Purvashrama, the pre-monastic days, they used to say, so your daridra, your poverty, your bad karma is gone. The person who has stolen your slippers or shoes has taken away your karma, bad karma. Let it go. You buy a new one. That way they used to convince us. Now, Sri Ramakrishna told Devendra, he was concerned for him, bring your slippers and keep it in the veranda. Otherwise, it might be stolen. Devendranath sat down on a mat on the floor and Sri Ramakrishna asked him, where do you come from? To which Devendra replied, Calcutta. To see the deity in this form, maybe the master posed as Sri Krishna with a flute. No, sir, said Devendra. I have come to see you. So, not the deity in the temple of Krishna or the Kali or the Shiva temple, but I have come to see you. I have not come to see the deity in the temple. Ramakrishna inquired, why did you come here? Where are you from? Where do you come from? Have you come to see the deity in the form? So Ramakrishna posed himself like Krishna with the flute. To which Devendra told, no, sir, I have come to see you. Then Sri Ramakrishna told, to see me? Exclaimed the master. Ah, what is there to see in me? I am an ordinary human being. Look, I have broken my own arm. And what pain I have. Asking Devendranath to feel his injured arm, he said, can you tell if the bone has been fractured? It is so painful. What shall I do? Devendranath examined the arm and asked Sri Ramakrishna how the accident had occurred. Sri Ramakrishna replied, see, sometimes I go into samadhi to a higher state. So, because of that samadhi, I lose the external consciousness. I fall into a peculiar state. The arm was broken on one of those occasions when I fell down. The pain increases when any medicine is used. Other saints sent some medicine which also increased the swelling. So I have stopped using any medicine. Do you think I shall recover? Devendranath Majumdar told, yes, certainly you will recover, sir. In a moment of in a moment all trace of pain seemed to disappear from Sri Ramakrishna's face. Like a boy, he called out to some people outside, look here. This gentleman from Calcutta says that my arm will get better. Devendranath noticed that Sri Ramakrishna's body was delicate and soft. His mind was frank like a child's. Never before had he seen such an open, artless, guileless person. He thought, he had this doubting nature in the beginning, so that is coming back now. He thought, is this a show? I have come to see a saint, whereas he has made me out to be a saint. He takes me for a prophet. Is it possible for a man to be so artless? Or is it just a pretense? But gradually, Sri Ramakrishna's childlike behavior dispelled all his doubts. In the meantime, Sri Ramakrishna asked a devotee named Harish to give Devendranath some refreshments. When Devendranath Majumdar finished eating, the master began to talk about divine love. He said, "Do you know what prema, ecstatic love for God, is? When one has prema, divine love or ecstatic love for God, that person forgets the world. One even forgets one's own body, which is so dear to a person. As in a dust storm, one cannot distinguish the trees and the houses, all look alike. So, at the dawn of divine love, that is prema, ecstatic love of God, all ideas of distinction vanishes. Now, Devendranath Majumdar had never before heard such a thing about divine love and God. He sat enchanted, absorbing every word of Sri Ramakrishna. Now you can see Ramakrishna himself, because he had realized God and he himself was the avatara, he had that childlike nature. So, what is the nature of the child? It has deep faith in everybody, it doesn't doubt at all. See the children, watch the children, behavior of the children. They are guileless, no doubt. They believe whatever you tell. So, likewise, when Devendranath Majumdar told Sri Ramakrishna that he would be cured, he believed it so much so that pain vanished suddenly. Like a boy, he called out to some people outside, "Look, look here. This gentleman come from Calcutta says that my arm will be better." When he told, "Do you think I shall recover?" "Yes, certainly." In a moment, all trace of pain seemed to disappear from Sri Ramakrishna. See, that is child's faith. If you have faith, you can attain everything. Ramakrishna is showing how guileless that simplicity can bring you to bring you closer to God, and you can attain anything and everything. So now Devendra was watching Sri Ramakrishna. His body was so soft, delicate, and his mind frank like a child. So these are the qualities of a realized soul. Never before had he seen such an open, artless person. So now, naturally, we people have this doubt. He too started doubting Sri Ramakrishna. He thought, was it a pretense? I have come to see a saint, whereas he has made me a saint of me. When one of the Western disciples, I think if I'm right, it is Josephine MacLeod, she met the emperor there in Europe, maybe in Belgium or some other country in Europe. She met the emperor there. She felt when she met the emperor that she was so small compared to that majesty of the emperor. But then Josephine MacLeod, when she met Vivekananda, she compares her meeting with that emperor. Then she proclaims, when I met that great emperor, I felt how pygmy like I was. I was feeling so small. But when I met Vivekananda, I started feeling how great I am. My greatness started manifesting. I felt that I was so great when I met Swami Vivekananda. When I met that emperor, I felt I was so small. The emperor was so great. But when she met Vivekananda, she tells that I felt that I was so great. That is the difference between meeting a realized soul and ordinary person. Your doubt vanishes. You become so great. Now, this natural tendency of Devendranath Majumdar of doubting came up. Is this a show? I have come here to see a saint, whereas he has made me a saint out of me. He takes me for a prophet. See, that faith of Ramakrishna in you is bringing out the prophet in you. He takes me for a prophet. Is it possible for a man? Is it possible for a man to be so artless? See, now you can clearly picturize the childlike nature of Sri Ramakrishna. See, he is our Ishta Devata, he is our Avatar Varishta. Now you can see the nature. By these things, you can pick up what is the nature of Sri Ramakrishna. He is so artless, he is so soft and delicate. He has the mind frank like a child. He is making you feel that you are a prophet. I have come to see a saint and he is making me a saint. These are the characteristic features of a realized soul. Just like in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explains about the man of perfection, Sthita Prajna. When Arjuna asks, how does Sthita Prajna behave? The whole 15, 16 verses by Lord Krishna describes the nature of, here you can see it. There it is just some figure of speech. It is just some explanation of some terms. But you can see here, by the behavior, by the nature of Ramakrishna, the childlike, that nature, the frank, the simplicity. So all that you can feel it. You have to picturize it. You have to meditate on that. So now you can understand what Ramakrishna is, how his nature is, what is a realized soul, how does a avatara be. All that you can get a picture here. But gradually, Sri Ramakrishna's childlike behavior dispelled all the doubts of Devendranath. In the meantime, Sri Ramakrishna asked a devotee named Harish to give Devendranath some refreshments. When Devendranath finished eating the refreshments, the master began to talk about divine love. What is divine love? He said, do you know what prema, ecstatic love for God is? When one has prema, ecstatic love, divine love for God, one forgets the world. When you have the love for human beings, we think that is prema. No, that is selfishness. When you turn your energy, your mind towards the world, that will bind you. But when you turn your love towards God, that becomes ecstatic love, divine love, which will release you. Do you know, he's asking Devendra, Ramakrishna is asking, what prema is ecstatic love for God, is when, what is the nature of divine love, a person having divine love? When one has prema, ecstatic love for God, one forgets the world. One even forgets one's own body, which is so dear to us, all of us. So then Ramakrishna gives the wonderful example of a dust storm. One cannot distinguish when there are so many trees, which is that tree because of the covering of the dust storm. You cannot distinguish the trees and the houses, all look alike in that storm, dust storm. So Ramakrishna giving this beautiful example is telling, so at the dawn of the divine love, when ecstatic love, when the divine love blooms in you, When you get that, when it dawns in you, all ideas of distinction, differentiation, finding faults, doubts, they all vanish. Devendranath Majumdar had never before heard such wonderful things. He was enchanted, absorbing every word of what Sri Ramakrishna told him. When it was time for the midday meal, Sri Ramakrishna said to Devendranath Majumdar, "Look, many respectable Brahmins eat here. It is a temple, and there can be no objection to your taking prasad with us. The day is already advanced. Don't leave now, but please take food." Calling his nephew Ramlal, Sri Ramakrishna said, "Look here, this man is a good man. He will take his food here. Please give him the prasad from the Vishnu temple." Devendranath again started wondering, how does Sri Ramakrishna know that I am a vegetarian? Can he read our minds? This is the first time I'm meeting him. How does he know that I'm a vegetarian? Because to Divine Mother Kali and Durga, they offer non-vegetarian food too. But to Krishna, Lord Krishna, there was this Radha Krishna temple, they used to offer only vegetarian food. So he's telling you can take vegetarian food. So how does he know that I'm a vegetarian? So Ramakrishna, can he read our minds? While eating his meal, Devendranath questioned Ramlal about Sri Ramakrishna's life. His mind was filled with wonder while hearing the life of Sri Ramakrishna. Now we shall stop this wonderful meditation on Sri Ramakrishna. We are enjoying the nature, the childlike nature of Sri Ramakrishna. So we will stop here in that high. When our mind is raised to such a high level, let us not get distracted. We will continue the same meditation, that thought, that ecstatic love, as Ramakrishna told, prema, should bloom in our heart. So with this wonderful thing, we will wait up till the next session and again come back to that meditation of Sri Ramakrishna through the life of Devendranath Majumdar. We will stop our conversation now with the prayer. But before that, if you have any questions, you can ask. So there are no questions on the YouTube live chat. Are there any questions or are there any doubts here in the Google Live? Anybody having any questions or doubts, you can ask. Okay, if you don't have any doubts or questions, then we can conclude with the prayer. Om Priyatam Pundarikakshaha Sarvayagneswaro Harihi Tasmin Tushte Jagat Tushtam Predite Preditam Jagat Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Thank you. Namaste. Om Namo Narayanaya.